10 minutes before 11 o'clock. You know what's kind of hard to even get my head around is the fact that in two months, November, December, in 3 months, it's going to be a new year. In 3 months, it's going to be a new year. In 3 months, it's going to be the 15th day of the new year.
Yeah.
And 15 days short of that, everybody will be telling me what they are going to do different than what they've been doing before. They call them resolutions, right?
Yep.
So what about getting started right now? We have two ladies on the phone who are going to talk to us about reimagining ourselves. There's a program, I think it's with Self Magazine. Yeah, there it is right there. Self Magazine called Reimagine Myself. Jeannie Mai is on. She is a style expert. She's the co-host of a television show called The Real, and she's a spokesperson for the Reimagine Myself program, as is Lori Mayer. Am I saying that right? Lori is a registered nurse and the director of medical research services at the Multiple Sclerosis Clinic of Central Texas. And they're talking about the Reimagine Myself program plus the multiple sclerosis issue. I think I have that right. Good morning, Jeannie Mai and Lori Mayer. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
That was a mouthful. You got it so good. Thank you for getting our names right, too.
And where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling you from Los Angeles, and Lori's calling you from Austin.
I'm in Austin, Texas.
All right. Well, we're skipping across the country, it sounds like. Well, thank you for both for getting up early to be with us, especially Jeannie. You're out on the West Coast. So what is the program, and how does it affect multiple sclerosis?
Sure. Well, the program is called Reimagine Myself. It's a collaboration of Biogen, Self Magazine, and myself. And together we wanted to create a destination, a community that would speak to anybody who is either living with RMS or knows somebody who's living with RMS, relapsing multiple sclerosis. I first-handedly experienced this through my Aunt Lynn. She was diagnosed a few years ago, and we didn't realize that it would just involve our entire family. And, you know, it was hard to not understand what the condition is, what the chronic disease is like, that my aunt would wake up every day with different struggles and challenges and mood swings. And now I've realized that we have to have something like this to really educate people on the chronic disease, but also to help them imagine life with a different perspective. You know, how you can just do simple swaps so that your everyday living habits shouldn't be affected, that you can still enjoy the holidays coming up, or your sense of style, or your fitness and your health. You know, these are things that you shouldn't be, feel like you're left out of, So on the site, self.com/reimagine myself, you'll find great tips in all categories of life. And what I like about the site is that it's really good for everybody, actually. It's not just, I learned a lot of things from the site. I actually made a quick, easy egg muffin recipe that I found on the site myself. And I really love the fitness tips that, I want to bring back to my Aunt Lynn so that we can take part in fitness together, because we used to love doing a lot of things that are now difficult for her. And not only that, of course, the tips that I shared with my Aunt Lynn when it comes to fashion and her individuality, I've, included these on the site just to motivate women, just to live life and be more practical,
So forgive me for asking maybe some elementary questions, but is MS is a nervous system kind of a condition, and it sounds like your eating actually can affect it one way or another, good or bad.
Well, let me jump in, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about what MS is. It is a chronic disease. It is progressive, and it does affect the central nervous system. And the central nervous system is the brain, the spinal cord, and the optic nerves. It is a global disease. I think some people don't realize that. There's 2.3 million people who have the diagnosis, and it often strikes people in the prime of their lives, in their 20s, 30s, early 40s, when they're having families and they're working, and we see it. It's much more prevalent in women than it is to men, actually about 3 to 1. And the symptoms that the patient can experience are very unpredictable, and they vary from one person to another. So some of them can include a very severe disabling fatigue. They can have visual disturbances or altered sensations like numbness, tingling. They can have difficulty with mobility. But the most common form of the disease is relapsing MS. And this is about 85% percent of patients are diagnosed. And how this is different is this is where people experience clearly defined attacks or flare-ups or relapses. We call them all of those. And it can be followed by periods of complete resolution of those symptoms or partial resolution. And it's the partial resolution and the progression that we're trying to prevent, and we try to prevent that. This is a good, if there ever was a good time to be diagnosed with MS, it's now. 20 years ago, we didn't have, disease-modifying therapies that are available. We do now, and we have several of them that have proven efficacy that'll slow the progression of the disease and actually decrease the number of relapses. So, for example, in one disease-modifying therapy is Tecfidera. This is dimethyl fumarate. It is an oral therapy, proven efficacy and well-understood safety profile. We have to balance the efficacy with safety, so it may cause some serious side effects, including allergic reactions, PML. We may see a decrease in the white blood cell count, and we'll monitor the patient over time. So the most common side effects of this medication is flushing and some stomach problems. All in all, I think what's most important is the patient be proactive and discuss going on a disease-modifying therapy and find one that's actually appropriate for them.
Oh, wow. And what is the therapy exactly? Is it changing your eating habits or your diet? Your exercise habits? Or?
No, the therapy actually, this is an oral medication that's taken twice a day.
Oh, okay.
This particular one, and it works on the immune system. So, as far as mechanisms of action, because that's what happens in MS. The patient has their immune system, goes astray, more or less.
Okay.
The connection between the neurons to the rest of the body is totally disrupted, and that's what causes the symptoms.
And Lori, was it your aunt that has been using the therapy?
No, actually, it was Jeannie.
Jeannie's aunt. Okay, I got confused whose aunt. So how is she doing it? And are the therapeutic things that you're applying, how are they working? How do they manifest themselves?
Thank you so much for asking. My Aunt Lynn is doing so much better today. I mean, like Lori had spoken about or had mentioned, it's a chronic disease, so it comes back in different waves. Every day is a different experience. But as far as right now, what I love is that she's prepared. She's educated, she's prepared. Together as a family, we've helped provide the different ways in the household, so that she doesn't ever have to feel daunted about doing the things that she loves.
Right.
So that in itself is the best place that anybody living with RMS, I believe, can be. Just to be prepared to go out for an evening gala if you wanted to get dressed up. To be prepared if people were coming over to whip some recipes together.
Right.
To be prepared to go out and do great exercises. If you feel like you need a kick in your metabolism and to feel healthy about
it sounds
your
like
life.
Sounds like somebody listening who can relate to this sees light at the end of the tunnel just by hearing this information. And I don't want to end the interview before giving them the information so they can look at this further. Okay, I guess websites or maybe the article in the magazine. How do we direct the audience?
Yes, you guys can all go to self.com/reimagine myself. It's going to be available through December. The tips will change. It's super updated frequently so that you're always going to get renewed. So check it out, everybody, not just women living with RMS, but everybody in general. It's just a smart, practical website we could all learn from.
Self.com/reimagine myself. Lori Mayer and Jeannie Mai, thank you both so much. We'll be right back.
Casting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.